Hello everybody, how are you all today? I hope you're all absolutely marvellous. I'm kind of marvellous, a little bit. I've been rushing around doing so many things in the last few days, but everything's going according to plan. Yay! So, because the garden is pretty much sort of under control, done-ish, apart from harvesting, I'm gradually turning my attention to all the jobs that need doing in my home. The list is endless, it's ridiculous, so I'm prioritising a bit. Now, one of the jobs that's been kind of nagging me for ages is getting my kitchen plug drain arrangement sorted out. So in case you're wondering, you're thinking, where's Vivi? Where is she today? I've got my big shadow there. That's because the sun's streaming in from the my south-facing window. I'm in the kitchen. I'm at the other end of the kitchen to the cooker where you normally see me, because my drain's been really, really sluggish in the last few days. And now this is pretty rank, I'm going to admit it to you all. I think I must have either a lentil or a chickpea has gone underneath my trap, gotten into my U-bend, and was actually sprouting up through the plug hole. So, now, prevention is always better than cure. But so often when I'm in the garden and harvesting, it's the last job of my day in the garden, so I spend all day doing stuff, I'm feeling absolutely worn out. The last thing I do is harvest, and the last thing I want to do is spend time on the allotment washing all my veggies, so I race home with them and I wash them in the kitchen sink. So all that soil that's going down the kitchen sink, never mind other bits and bobs, I don't even want to think about how many snails have gone down my kitchen sink. Ooh, I find them in my fridge. I found a snail crawling up the bathroom wall the other day. Ooh. Anyway, so like I said, prevention's better than cure. So if you can wash your veggies on the plot, please try to. I have been washing the veggies in the last few days because, having had a go at the sink, I don't want to clog it up again anytime too soon. The other thing I use, just going to show you, is a little plug trap. It just sort of sits over the plug hole. It's got smallish holes, so that helps to sort of stop any really big bits going down there, but it doesn't do the job entirely. So actually, I'm just going to show you some of my cleaning bits and pieces before I show you what I did to my plug hole itself, because I really have the most, I'm just reaching for everything now, I really have the most simple cleaning kit in the world. I don't tend to buy proprietary cleaners, partly because a couple of years ago I made a concerted effort to try to get rid of plastic from my life, or just try and massively reduce how much plastic I was bringing into my home. And the thing about a lot of the ingredients I use for cleaning is they come in either glass bottles or cardboard packets. Great, so it's mostly recyclable. So an absolute good old basic white vinegar, distilled white vinegar, brilliant. Lemons are great for helping with cleaning around the house. I love them. And the smell of a freshly cut open lemon, yum, 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 yum. I also use quite a lot of bicarbonate of soda and good old hydrogen peroxide. This actually makes a pretty nifty weed killer as well, which I'll try to remember to show you next year. So that's kind of pretty much it. Sometimes a little bit of citric acid. I don't have any citric acid at the moment. Note, shopping list. And then I also have a little stock of essential oils. You guys will have heard me talking about tea tree oil loads. I use it for so much of my cleaning. It's just antimicrobial, it's brilliant, antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial, what more could you want? But I also have some that are more, let's say, a pretty scent, so sort of lavender, geranium, that sort of thing. Because Sometimes, especially if you're using the vinegar, the smell, for some people it's just too overpowering. So, for instance, another nice oil to have in the collection is peppermint, because that's quite a good disguise on the vinegar. But actually, once you've finished using vinegar, within, you know, half an hour or so, that smell has kind of disappeared. So it's great. So for cleaning my drain, I'm going to do two things. I'll try one thing first, give it a go. If that doesn't work, we'll get to the U-bend. But to start with, I'm going to use a bit of bicarbonate of soda in it. Bicarbonate of soda. Bicarbonate. I don't know why that came out like that. Some bicarb of soda and some white vinegar. So about half a cup of each. Let's get into the plug hole. This really could not be more simple. I'm just going to mash out any of the lumps. So I've got my half a cup of bicarb. I like to actually just spoon it in so it doesn't all just sit on the top and clog up. Gotcha. I think for those of you with kids, if you've done the volcano project at school, this will remind you. Oh, I love it. Love a little bit of science in the house. There we go. Put the rest down. Nothing doing at the moment, but now the magic and the fun begins. Follow that with your half a cup of vinegar. Whoa, hubble bubble, toil and trouble. Oh, I love it. I love that bubble fizzle. Give that a go, and then you can either get, if you've got a kettle that's just boiled, follow it with some really hot water. I haven't got a kettle that's boiled, so I'm just going to follow it with tap water. And just see if that's helped to get things moving a bit. If not, or if it's helped a little bit but not a huge amount, you can do a second application. What you'll quite often find, and this is what I found, I actually just cleaned it before I've done this on camera for you, because I really didn't want you to see the gunk down there. But as it's frothing up, quite often you'll see it throwing up little bits of gunk and junk with it. So have a go that way first of all. Give it a second application if it's still running a bit sluggish. If it's still really sluggish after that, another thing you can do is if it's just trapped right in the you've got junk and gunk trapped right in the top of the where the plug is here, especially if, like me, you've got long hair that ends up everywhere, it can end up tangled in there. You can get either a cotton bud or an old toothbrush and just have a good old poke around and a pick around in there, see if that helps. If it doesn't, it may be time, like I've had to do, to take off the U-bend. So let's get ready to take the U-bend off. I'm looking slightly gothic today, aren't I, with this big shadow? Anyway, before you take the U-bend off, get a few bits and pieces ready. So, big old plastic washing up bowl, or some sort of bowl to put underneath. I've got prepared on the side here another bowl full of warm water, so we can put the U-bend in it, and a very useful bottle brush, any sort of brush that you can get in there. Because once we've got the U-bend off, we're not going to be using the tap or the sink for rinsing the U-bend, so get that ready first. Right, let's go in and under. And the other thing is, of course, if you're like me, I'm sure we're all the same, the under sink cupboard is an absolute fright of a mess. Because we, in the front we've got all the things we use all the time, but stuff gets piled up. Don't think you can just kind of move things apart slightly. Just get the whole lot out, and then while you're there you can give the cupboard a good clean as well. Once a year, that's when I do it. I can't get over my shadow today. It's the amount of light coming in from that window. It's beautiful. Right, let's go up and under, or down and under. Well, this is a bit cosy, isn't it? Welcome to my under sink cupboard. See what I mean about just get everything out. So I normally have a shelf here, but obviously just whenever you're doing a job like this, just give yourself the space to do it. And also there is a chance that water will fly everywhere, gunk's going to fly everywhere, so just give it a good clear out so you've got the space. Got my little rubber gloves on, bowl underneath, obviously. Then I've got a kind of an old-fashioned kind of bog standard U-bend. Some of them you see now are the bottle type, so you'll see where this top screw is, then you have an almost bottle with the screw at the back, but the principle is the same. So I'm just going to release the screws. There are 2 screws. There's one coming directly, so I'm dripping already, one that's coming directly down from the sink, and the other one at the back that's going into my waste pipe. So just get them both unscrewed. I can't remember which way this screw goes. A little bit awkward. Now you see when you've got the bowl. So, it's actually not too bad because I did give it a bit of a shove through yesterday, but it is still a little bit gunky. So what I'll do is I'm just going to go back up onto the counter where I've got my warm soapy water and my bottle brush. I'm going to give it a really good scrudge out, and then we'll put it back on, but we're going to leave the bowl there for a few minutes longer. Don't move your bowl. So that's considerably cleaner, so it's time to reattach. I'm just making sure that these, I'm screwing up finger tight again. You don't want to be so tight that you can never get it off, but obviously tight enough for a seal. The back one actually has a washer in it, and as it's getting tighter you can kind of feel that washer, it's sort of a rubber washer, you can sort of feel it grip. So now we'll leave the bowl in, run some water to make sure we've got the bend back on properly. So I'm going to go up above and scoot some water. I'm going to slide this way. You lot can see whether I've screwed it back on properly. Oh, ow. It's not the most elegant or easy job, but right, can you see? So the bowl of water that I scrudged it out with, down the sink. Any drips? No? Brilliant. So once you're sure that there's absolutely no drips, it's job done. And, oh, let's have you back up here. Job done. Give everything a quick wipe down. And then it's time for a cup of tea. So I hope it's like an episode of Nosferatu. I like that. I'm going to play all day. Now it's time to make a cup of tea and chill out a bit. But I hope that's, look, I'm sure there are many of you who clean your drains like that already. So, you know, I don't mean to insult you by telling you something that's really straightforward. But some of you may never tried it and may find it useful, especially the bicarb vinegar to start with, because that's a really easy thing to start with. I've just shown you how to take off a YouTube. No, this is YouTube. Take off a U-bend. I think the smell of that vinegar's done something to my brain. But you've seen now how to take off a YouTube. It's dead simple. I mean, it really could not be more simple. You don't need to call a plumber out for that. Obviously, if there's something wrong with any of the other bits of piping, maybe get a plumber involved. But if it's just the U-bend or the sink plug hole, try it yourself. You may save yourself a few quid on getting someone else to do it, and you may just be able to solve a problem on the spot. Have fun. See you all soon. Take care. Ah.